This is CliffCentral.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to Auto Central on Cliff Central, powered by AutoTrader.
Hello, Wilmarie.
Hello, George. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Nice to have you back. And Chad, I mean, we had to keep the Ford without you. I think we did well. I don't know if you were listening.
I think we did. No, George was listening, and he told us earlier he was listening. And are you quite done with your gallivanting now?
I'm done with my gallivanting for now.
Did you miss us?
Of course I did. What do you think?
Good, because we've been talking all things motoring, and we've got an awesome lineup for today again. So I think and we've got a wonderful guest. But just before I start with the lineup for today, did any one of you watch the MOTO GP? By the way, I think it was this weekend. Yeah,
Crickets. Nope.
No, we have to get you guys on bikes. But I'm a bit disappointed because currently we've got Jorge, who's overtaken Rossi. But the interesting thing is they have on the site, so you guys must have a look there. You can actually vote in terms of to try and figure out who's going to be the winner, who's going to take the championship. Is it Jorge, is it Rossi? And the guys are voting 72% for Rossi and 28% for Jorge.
Let me guess where your money is.
Yes, in the red by Rossi. Well, I hope so.
Taking a look at the standings, I mean, they are tied up though. So is it coming down to podiums now that they're separating them? How many races still to go? You know, there's a lot.
There's a lot to keep in mind.
Yeah, to keep in mind when you make this sort of decision.
And remember, we also spoke about certain bikes suit certain tracks, but in this case, they're on the same motorbikes. So it's going to be quite interesting to watch the next race. But unfortunately, Jorge won, took the race. Mark Marquez doing well. He's getting back in there, but he is complaining about front end that they're not able to sort out. So
but he's so far adrift, though, in terms of points. I mean, he's several wins with absolute non-finishes, DNFs from the other two, from Rossi and
he's got a bit of work to do. But you know what? It builds character. If you go through those kind of crashes, you can bring it back and get back onto podium. That's good. And he is young. You know, he's got a lot to learn. And then Rossi third, and so Jorge and Rossi, like you said, tie up in the championship. So it's good to keep an eye on that. But now I'm curious. #99C new car.
Unbelievable. Hey. You know, the Twitter response and the visits to the site and the amount of engagement we've got has been phenomenal. So there's been a couple of questions that have been asked about the future, and we're going to announce quite a big thing on Tuesday on the Espresso show between 6 and 9. So AM, yes,
okay.
AM. And so it's going to be live. We're going to be somebody's going to buy the car on Tuesday morning, and it's going to be a very fun show.
Buy this car, the 99C car, live this Tuesday. 6 to 9.
6 to 9 on the Espresso show on SABC 3.
So how do you buy it? Because I thought you can win it. Just want to understand that.
You're winning correct me if I'm wrong, George, but you are winning a chance to now compete for this car. And, the winner of this sort of on-air battle to the death, if we can put that in inverted commas, is going to get the opportunity to buy the car for 99 cents.
Oh, so you still got... Okay.
So it's been narrowed down to... How many do we have? 3?
Three finalists.
4?
3 or 4 finalists.
So the finalists will be there on Tuesday, and it's going to be a very exciting show.
So now, can you still vote? Can you still... this is it. Those 4 done. The competition's done.
It's pretty much done. So
no more clues, anything.
No clues are over. The car's been revealed, and you can see on the face of the site, it's a beautiful red Mazda 2.
Isn't that Soul Red?
Yes,
Soul Red. You spoke about Soul Red.
Yes.
I love that.
And it is. It's probably one of the best colors that you can get it in. So champion choice.
And that's the car I want.
It is.
Remember, we've been talking about that. No. I've got to go and test drive.
Yeah, it's a 1.5 individual, which means that it's properly spec'd as well. So there's a very nice trim level, very nice spec level in that car. It's in the right color. We're big fans of them. I'm a big fan of them. And that person that's going to get a chance to walk away with it for 99 cents.
Incredible deal.
Hey, that's something that's a bucket list item you can tick right there.
And lots of people guessed this car right, early on and midway through.
Yeah, very early.
A lot of people guessed this car right, with maybe 2 or 3 clues under the belt. So there's some big petrol hits. And we had to be quiet.
Listen, that said, I think it was up until about 2 or 3 days ago, we were still getting the weirdest sort of guesses as well. Range Rover Evoque. It's like, have you not been following this, people?
Did you get an Evoque in 1.5 litre?
No, but that's clearly where they haven't been following these clues.
That's where his heart is.
Yeah, true.
That's
Somebody
what
came in there, BMW M4. I'm like, dude, yeah, no.
There's your clues.
Yeah, do a little homework.
Okay, so that's Tuesday, 6 to 9 on, is it Espresso or Espresso?
I think it's Espresso.
Espresso, yeah.
Okay, so it's live. Well, I'll be watching. So, and you can also follow us on @Twitter SA to find out a bit more, I think, on Tuesday, because I'm sure that'll be going
go
insane.
on Twitter @AutoTrader SA.
Yes. Thanks for correcting. Thanks
Sorry.
for being here, Chad.
But @Twitter SA is going to take you somewhere completely different.
I wonder if there is an @Twitter SA.
No doubt there is, and if there isn't, somebody's just created
Just
one.
bring it back @AutoTrader SA. Thank you. Okay, so our lineup today, we've got an amazing guest, Arnold Olivier. He's the, can I call you big boy of Triumph? Groot meneer.
If you insist.
Of Triumph SA. So we're going to talk all things Triumph, a little bit more in terms of the background of Triumph, which is actually very interesting, where it comes from, since when, some hard times that Triumph has been through, and where they're going. And then some general motor-related topics, very interesting, very hot topic at the moment, crossover vehicles. What is it? Do you really know what's the difference between that and an SUV? Is there a difference? So stay tuned in.
Do we need them? Sorry.
Do we? Yes.
Yeah, do we need them? Is there actually a place for it in the market?
And just, do you know what it actually is? So, there's a lot of questions and a lot of opinions on this. So this is
Plenty.
going to be a nice debate. And then some 10 biggest first date turn-offs in a car. It's very interesting. All right. So, Arnold, welcome.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming through. Well, by the way, I hope you're on a Triumph.
Of course I am.
I saw the helmet. You said something earlier about your 9th.
Yeah, I'm currently riding a Tiger 800 XCX.
Okay.
And it's that plus its predecessor, the XC, it's my 8th one.
So, I mean, so if the importer of Triumph keeps buying the 800, that's kind of the way to go.
I'm pretty enthusiastic about that particular model. I think it's one of the best bikes that Triumph's ever built. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's just a great package. There are bikes that's faster, that do things, whatever, but it's just...
The overall package.
Yeah, it's just a really, really great bike. And it's new for us this year. It was introduced in February. It's the newer model of the old Tiger 800 XC, and it's doing really well.
Well, I can at least speak with you. There's no hidden agenda, because I also have one, but mine's the older one, hey?
Yes.
It's not the new, because I'll have to go and test ride that.
No, it's just your arm and your wallet away from being yours.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that.
What does that mean?
But
Arm and the wallet.
Well,
Use that arm,
there's people
fetch the
that's
wallet.
got short arms and their hand can't get into their
To the
pocket
wallet.
where their wallet is.
I did at least buy one, but it's not the new
You
one,
did,
so I'll have
yeah.
to, So I do support Triumph. But I want to know, Arnold, just a little bit more in terms of the background. Triumph Motorcycles, the largest British motorcycle manufacturer, was established in 1984. Now, how long have you been involved?
Actually, your date's not quite right. 1984 is when they went bust.
Oh,
Ish.
okay, well then Google's wrong.
Yes.
Please correct it.
The original Triumph factory started in 1902,
Okay.
which actually makes it a year older than Harley Davidson. There are two other obscure brands that I won't mention that's 1 year older.
You can mention it's uncensored.
Okay. It's Husqvarna
Okay.
and Royal Enfield.
Is that how you say it?
Husqvarna.
Husqvarna.
No, I don't know. That's how I say it.
Husqvarna.
Huskies.
Yeah.
I've
we
always,
know.
no, but
Husqvarna.
they're not Huskies.
Okay.
There's a Q in it. Anyway, so
And the Royal Enfield,
yes.
which they've only also recently kind of appeared again. It
No,
seems.
they've had an interesting history. Royal Enfield actually never went away. But we're not here to talk about Royal Enfield.
Yes, Triumph.
So
Can I ask you on, 2002, it's quite a tragic thing about Triumph.
Yeah, the factory kind of closed down from 84 to 86. And the chap called John Bloor bought the naming rights and the patents and the trademark and so forth. And then started building a new factory, and they opened up in 1991. So in 2002, that factory burned down completely.
Yeah, with all the bikes, everything. That's...
Yeah. Well, look, they obviously had a lot of stuff off-site, and they were also fortunately busy building and just about completed a second factory. So for about 6 months, they couldn't do much. But apparently the story is that every single staff member pitched in there. They carried stuff away, they dug holes, they carted rubbish away, they helped in the rebuilding process. So when you talk to the people that were there at the time, it's quite an emotional thing. But they literally all got stuck in, and they rebuilt the factory.
But that's how I saw it. When I read it, I thought, wow, I mean, people don't realize. I've seen your passion for Triumph over the years, and I have a passion, but it's very different. When you read something like this, you realize the fact that this brand is still going and so strong, it comes from those people who were all invested to make it.
There's a lot of the people at the factory. When you talk to them, you can see it's not just a job for them. They really are involved. They're passionate. It's their life, and it comes through in the product. And so hey, it's not a difficult one to like.
But you've been involved from South Africa's point of view for quite a while as well.
Yeah, our company got the franchise in 1995. There was a small importer before that. I joined our company in 2005, beginning of 2005, and a year and a half, 2 years later, I became brand manager for Triumph. So then my responsibility was focused solely on Triumph and its related products. We do clothing and accessories. And
I see your shoes.
Yes.
Shirt. Everything. So what kind of
my
accessories?
belt too.
Yes, I actually did see that.
So I get it cheaper though, of course.
That sort of goes without saying, but Triumph has just motorcycling in general over the past couple of years has become largely lifestyle orientated. People are buying more into the lifestyle of it more than just buying a means of transport. So they're going out there and they're buying. And yes, there was another manufacturer of traffic cones. Well, at least we call them traffic cones because they're orange. That had a problem with the onesies that they were making for babies. They made branded baby onesies.
Would that be KTM?
It would be, yes.
Okay.
What's a onesie?
Arnold.
A one piece sort of pajama outfit for youngsters. They had a problem with that.
We do that too.
It's made so you can't fall out.
It's a baby grow. Where do you people come from?
Yeah, they were calling it onesies and that. But we're just seeing more and more of that where they, people are becoming really engrossed in the lifestyle. Is South Africa a little slow to cotton onto that, or are we adopting?
No, not at all. I think if you went to the other lifestyle brands, Harley Davidson, you'll find just about anything there. At KTM, I saw orange gumboots. I was really impressed. We don't have toasters and gumboots, but we have onesies.
And belts.
Yeah, BMW had always had this lifestyle aspect about it. So yes, Triumph is one of those kind of things. Typically, I always say, if people say, what does your customer look like? He's kind of in between a typical Japanese motorcycle owner and a BMW type guy. No offense to the BMW guys, but somebody once said these guys are tribal people. They belong to this BMW tribe or the Harley tribe, KTM tribe, and Triumph tribe. But you don't get that with the Japanese brand so much. And the lifestyle aspect also changes. Surprisingly, a lot less people buy all of those things than what you'd think. But you kind of have to have it, and some people do buy it.
You're talking about the accessories?
Yeah, all of the lifestyle clothing stuff. As I said, I don't know how many people really have a KTM toaster in the kitchen, but some people do, and people enjoy seeing it. So some of it's just to be seen and having it in your shop, creating that impression, and that's kind of part of it. Similarly, you find some people want to see that you present a lifestyle, and you've got a lifestyle program and rides and events and so forth, but a lot of them never take part. They just want to see that you've got it,
that you're actually active, and that there is this lifestyle, this appearance of a lifestyle,
it's marketing
behind it. They many people, I believe, actually just want to buy into a lifestyle, buy into a group. It's that human trait of just wanting to feel like they belong somewhere, and if they can buy into it by purchasing a Triumph or something of the sorts, then they feel, well, my life's a little better rounded, a little more complete.
So and it varies. Sorry, George, it varies a lot from customer to customer. Somebody just wants a jacket, somebody else wants the whole thing. So you need to have the whole range, to cater for all your customer needs.
Cater to the depth they want to dive into.
Yeah. What is it about a Triumph? What makes it special? I mean, you get die-hard Harley Davidson followers, and I heard the story about Harley Davidson tattoos and the competition that exists around those tattoos and how they've brought Harley Davidson into those tattoos. But what is it about Triumph that that grabs the people that are passionate about them?
Okay, that's quite a big question, George. I think let me start with the bikes. Basically, our motorcycles are pretty unique. We could roughly split it 50-50 between the more classic looking bikes that uses the old parallel twin, more British bike looking stuff, more retro. On the other hand, we have a range of modern 3-cylinder engines. Now, 3-cylinder engines aren't unique. Some of the Japanese guys dabbled in it in the 70s, but it's a very big part of Triumph's heritage, the triple. It's got a unique sound, it's got a unique feel, it's got a lot of character, and that's the mainstay in our motorcycles. So when you ride our bikes, they're full of character. They're not just anonymous. You have an opinion about it. So it kind of arouses. And we ride bikes because we're passionate. It's an experience.
It's got the wow factor.
Yeah, it's special. I'm not saying it's more special than anything else.
I would be if I were you.
different strokes for different folks.
Yes.
But our product, our offering, if I use more market like speak like, our offering is unique to us.
Yeah.
We don't have things that's a copy of somebody else.
I was just going to say that. Your range, your product isn't something where you can say, oh, Triumph tried to actually copy A, B, or C.
But isn't there a you'd know more than what I would. Isn't there a situation where people put bikes together that look like Harley Davidsons, and they're not really?
Well, your cruiser
let
type.
Let me explain that one, because it's quite an interesting one. When we made the new Tiger 800, the guys all said, oh, you copied BMW. But in particular segments, you have a silhouette. Like you guys were talking about SUVs and crossovers and whatever. There's a silhouette of a particular vehicle. So sports bikes, if you painted all of them matte black and you park them next to one another, you'd actually find it quite hard to discern which one is which one, unless you're a bit of a specialist. So
unless you're Wilmarie and races it around the track.
So cruisers also have that silhouette. And it's very difficult to do a cruiser and not fit within the silhouette, because otherwise it doesn't look like a cruiser.
Yeah.
When does a bucky not look like a bucky?
Because they're all good bikes. I mean, there isn't really bad bikes anymore. We were saying that, like vehicles, cars as well, same thing.
Yeah.
But it's the brand that makes that difference. That's unique to them. Like in your case with the Triumph. I mean, one of your cruisers that I had not too long ago.
It was the Rocket, I think.
It was, what an incredible machine. But I still haven't found anything that looks like that for me. I would be able to.
That one is quite
out.
unique. Our Rocket 3 is a 2.3 litre power cruiser for you guys that don't know it well. And it's an absolutely fantastic bike.
And by no means do you just cruise with it. That's where the Rocket section comes in.
2.3.
Yes.
There's an Amarok parked outside with a smaller engine.
That's correct.
Wow.
You got to hold on to that one.
I mean, I was aware of the big, it was the 1800 Boulevard. I mean, the Boulevard was an 1800, and even that was just an absolute nightmare to try and control. That Rocket must be something else.
No, the Rocket, it's actually the biggest production motorcycle engine in the world. But Wilmarie, you rode it, so how hard was it to ride?
No, it was incredible. This is what the amazing thing is. And I think this also brings us to this whole crossover topic, because I find it interesting, and I'd like your opinion on that from the bike side as well, because some bikes are, and vehicles, we'll get to the cars a bit later, there seems to be some sort of a crossover happening, and sometimes you compromise and lose something, would it be handling or whatever the case might be. In this, with a Rocket specific, I don't think anything's compromised. That is honestly a unique motorcycle. It looks good, it handles impressively, and it stops, it turns, and it goes. But in terms of the Triumph, for example, the 800, the Tiger, would you say, I mean, Chad, you had a question about this too, in terms of the bikes. Honda made a crossover. I think they called it the N1000, where they want a little bit, you want a bit of a speed bike combined with a touring bike, that kind of thing. Would you say that's something that Triumph has done?
Very much so. I think our crossover SUV type of environment is the adventure bike. And for people that don't know, it's basically, in the old days we had what we called a scrambler, and that had a 185 or 250cc engine. You could go bash around in the veld. So today's interpretation, you've got a big, they start at about 650cc. We've got giant scramblers. They're really big SUVs. So they've got long travel suspension, more off-roady kind of tires. They're comfortable. They tour. You can go on dirt roads with them. You can actually, they commute well. They breakfast run well. They do everything well. But they're not superior in any one regard. If you compare it to, the motocross bike, it can't do that. It's too heavy.
Yeah, but then you also sit there and it's exactly that, because then you'll have of those that are sitting there and they're still fitted with your traction control, with your ABS, with your grip heaters and all that type of thing, stuff that you would only find on, let's say, a proper touring bike or, on a sports bike of sorts.
Yeah, it's as I said, the face of our industry's changed a lot because of adventure biking, and I'm kind of quite proud to say South Africa, I think, led this phenomenon worldwide. Once you had the Charlie Boorman, Ewan McGregor long way around thing, that exploded the adventure bike market globally. South Africa was strong in it long before that. So yes, they're great bikes. They've replaced touring bikes. And also, as the motorcycle population's gotten a little bit older, us older guys found it just more comfortable, and...
But you're not the only ones. I mean, us young people also do.
Well, because typically,
yeah.
Young people look up at us and they see what we're enjoying and think we want some of that too. We're not older and more experienced for no reason.
But Arnold, this is interesting though, because you went to England now not too long ago to do a whole 3-year growth plan.
That's right.
Now, and I mean, you dropped something in terms of age, big things that are changing with the bike industry. Can you tell us a little bit about this growth plan?
Yeah, it's quite interesting, and I don't think Triumph is unique. We're not the only people who've done it. But the major manufacturers have been doing some research and noticing that the age profile is getting older and older. And so quite a few years ago, quite a few of them started making plans and reinventing themselves to appeal to the younger people. Because younger people apparently want different things to us. And, we're getting into this X and Y and whatever thing. But they want a different experience. They want a different engagement with the brand that they buy into. They want different things. The bikes must look different, and it's also becoming much more of an urban metro type thing. So bikes need to be stylish, and that's more important than performance necessarily.
Is this now with a younger generation?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something we're seeing in the car sector as well. The guys are not too phased with the fact that it's got a 3-cylinder 1-liter motor. As long as it's got decent economy and it's I can connect my phone up to it and I can post tweets from the dashboard or whatever, they are looking for that. So do you think it's a slightly more Asian or Eastern approach to commuting in that sense, that they're not looking to do long distances?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just got something more to do with the fact that the cities are getting bigger. You've got bigger metro environments, and people's social patterns change. Nowadays younger people spend much more time, I think, careful, spending time sitting in coffee shops, doing this Wi-Fi stuff. And
Arnold,
things like that.
I'm over 40, so I don't know why you're glancing
and,
at me.
no, see all the electronic stuff. So those kind of things change. So in the car side, you've seen like retro type vehicles are doing quite well.
Yes.
So on the bike side, we're seeing something similar.
Okay.
So we've got some competitors that's recently come out with stuff kind of aiming at that younger crowd. We've got some really exciting models coming out next year, which I think will do pretty okay for us, which is aimed squarely at that.
Can you give us a hint?
They've got 2 wheels.
A little more specific.
Come on. The Triumph badge, in terms of which category?
Look, there's been a lot of stuff on the internet and spy shots and so forth, so I guess I won't get killed outright when I get back to work. But it focuses around our classic Bonneville range.
Okay.
But it's more retro than replica. So you've got a modern vehicle with those old kind of styling touches in, but I can't say more than that.
So do you think it's in line with this whole growth plan that you've done now in terms of what's coming out? I mean, you just recently did that.
Well, our growth plan was more a survival plan.
Oh, you said it now.
It's very difficult to go overseas and say to people, this is how we're going to grow in the next 3 years. But we do a lot of things. You know, we've got a lot of plans. Our dealer, the face of our dealer network is going to change in the next 2 years to fall in line with this new approach. There's a new Triumph CI. The shops will look a hell of a lot more exciting and much more appealing to new customers.
Awesome.
So some of it, you look at it and you say, I'm not sure if I like that, but we need to move, we need to change with the times. So I'm quite excited. I think it's going to look great. Maybe the pound will be kind to us, but things are going forward.
So am I allowed to ask you? I don't know if
you can ask me anything.
It's whether he's going to answer.
Going to get an answer or not? No.
I mean, currently Triumph is mostly within Kawasaki, within other bike shops, so it shares the floor. Can I put it that way? Are you happy with that? Would you want to change that? Is that something that might change in the future?
Okay, maybe by way of explanation to your listeners, the company that imports Triumph is KMSA Distributors, Kawasaki. So we share a lot of dealers. No, it's not ideal. I'd like to be by myself, but we started small. We built it up. Today we've got a unique presence in every dealership where you walk in and you see that's the Triumph area. So as long as that continues and that goes from strength to strength, sometimes practically you have to share.
But there might be for the future, though, because in some ways it's two different markets.
We've got two standalone dealers, and from here going forward, we won't have more multi-franchise. They'll only be sole Triumph.
Okay, interesting. Well, Arnold, we're going to come back to you just now, but later in the show, we want to talk a little bit more about what Triumph actually does for cancer, because I mean you guys are big contributors to that and you support it in a big way. But we're going to go to ad now. After that, Chad's going to talk to us a little bit more about this Chevrolet Cruise. Did I say that right? Is it Chevrolet or Chevrolet? Chevrolet Cruise hatch.
I prefer Chevy Cruise.
It is so much easier, but unfortunately, even when you're typing it, Chevy just doesn't go down well with the masses.
It doesn't go down well with autocorrect either.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get back to that now.
Choice. Sometimes you have it, and sometimes you don't. AutoTrader gives you the choice. Now you can shop, compare, and buy new cars. Watch our expert video reviews and research before you buy. AutoTrader New Car. The choice is yours.
Stand a chance to buy a brand new mystery car for just 99 cents. You heard right, 99 cents. Follow the clues on Twitter at AutoTrader SA and use the hashtag 99centnewcar.
And we're back. Chad, the floor is yours.
Is it mine?
It's all yours.
All mine. Okay. Well, I mean, we're chatting to Arnold here about the Triumphs and that, and off air we've been bantering nicely about the crossover side of things and that. And I'm now just going to take such a radical departure, and I'm just going to talk about our review of the week here. And the review of the week is the 2015 Chevrolet Cruise. Now, I tested the hatch version of that, and it's pretty much just a facelift, and it's a fantastically well-rounded car, and I'm not using that term loosely. It's a brilliantly rounded car. It's a fantastic drive, offers good economy, it's a sporty drive, it's an engaging drive, and it doesn't look bad, provided you don't get the hatch.
I was going to say no, but
there always has to be a but, and I think that the back end of the Chevrolet Cruise hatch is probably one of the most underwhelming designs ever created. The one I had on test was the 1.4
in other words,
litre.
disappointing.
Extremely disappointing. The one I had on test was the 1.4 turbo LS model in the hatch. It retails for 265,200, and add 3,000.
How much?
265,200. So it's not badly priced.
I'm just trying to get the picture up here so I can see what
it is. Of the Cruise. Yeah. The sedan is 2,700 rand cheaper than that. And the sedan is the better looking one of the two.
Okay.
The sedan looks fantastic. The hatch, not so much. But if you sit and you drive out there on the road and you take a look around, you'll notice how popular these actually are. It's not an overly ambitious, bold styling move. And it sort of slips underneath the radar. It's a conservative car all round. Believe it or not,
So are you saying you don't like this hatchback?
I don't like the hatchback, hey? I don't like the back end of it.
I think it's...
Duncan, take a look at that red one
You
over
know what?
there.
I actually don't mind the...
Yeah, that one there. That back end is terrible. You compare it to the...
What
no,
do you-
it's not good. You compare it to
Really?
the sedan. Now, the sedan has got a couple of fantastic styling cues. It's got chrome underlined U shapes in the taillights. It makes it look like the Camaro. It's got a fantastically massive boot, and then it's an engaging drive as well. It's a fantastic drive, don't get me wrong. I'm not slating it here. My biggest problem with it was it's a wonderful drive. Everything feels good. It performs well. The dashboard, the ergonomics, everything inside it is fantastic. Fuel economy is lovely, even if you drive it like a hooligan. And you will. That 1.4 litre turbo motor is
nice.
is fantastic. It's fantastic. Just get the numbers here, because that develops 200 Newton meters, 103 kilowatts.
You know what? I'm seeing it in white now. And white makes the bum always look bigger, hey? They say. So I agree. It doesn't work.
You take a look at the sedan, and the sedan's a much better looking vehicle. They
Yeah.
have sold over 3 million Chevrolet Cruisers since its launch in 2009.
Hatchback versus sedan.
Apparently the hatch outsells it, so clearly I am totally left field here, not liking it. But the biggest problem for me with the Cruise was the fact that I loved the drive. I think it's a fantastic car. It's brilliantly priced. It drives well. It's engaging, and it really is an exciting car to drive. But every time I climbed out of it and I closed the door, I was like, is that what I looked like? It was just disappointing.
Is it not a heat turner?
No, not at all. It totally slides under the radar. If you take a look at a couple of these pictures, go out and take a drive just on your way home and try and see how many of them you actually spot. And there's such a good number of them on the roads.
But you don't notice them.
You don't notice them. They're not head turners. I don't want to say that it's an appliance. It's a fantastic companion for your daily lifestyle, in the sense that it's practical. Like I say, it drives well as well. There's a couple of nice styling cues, and then it's got GM's reliability, which is very, very good. So I can understand why 3 million of them have been sold since its launch, and the fact that it's Chevrolet's most popular passenger vehicle, their best-selling passenger vehicle. I just think if you're going to go for it, just take that extra foot of metal. Save money, take that extra foot of
And
metal,
take
and
the sedan.
please put the sedan on the road, people. Put the sedan on the road, not the hatch. Do us all a favour.
Chad doesn't want to see any more hatchbacks on the road.
I don't mind hatchbacks, the Chev Cruise hatch, because the front end is, and especially with a facelift, it's got new headlights in it, it's got a new bumper, the grille has been changed, the bow tie's a little smaller, it's got the tail lights at the back, there's now new options in terms of the wheels.
So do you feel they kind of just didn't finish it off to the back?
And I said it in the
a
video,
rush
is
job.
that they sat there and they spent all their time and effort designing the front of the car, and they gave it lovely lines, really nice lines, nothing over the top, nothing shouty, beautiful lines. And then all of a sudden he realized that it was 4:45 on a Friday afternoon and he hadn't finished the back end, so he quickly penciled something in and
You
said, there we
really
go.
don't like this back end.
The back end of the car is
But in terms of performance in this this Chevy Cruise, you said it puts out
103 kilowatts, 200 newtons. It doesn't sound like much, but it's not a very heavy chassis either.
Yeah.
It's fairly lightweight. It's made from lightweight materials. It's not, and especially in the LS model, that didn't come with the leather interior. So you're sitting with cloth interior, but the cloth interior was comfortable and lovely, flexible. So a little lighter than some of the upper spec models, and it pulled extremely well.
0 to 100.
Oh, I would be guessing now. I didn't have those figures straight offhand.
But you were saying numbers. It seems to be their best model, selling model. Do you have
Passenger
numbers?
vehicle.
Passenger vehicle.
Passenger
Okay.
vehicle, yeah. We've got over 3 million sold internationally. That's what we've got there. But their passenger vehicle, it's their...
So it is quite a popular...
Yeah, it's extremely popular.
But now we were talking earlier about crossover vehicles, Chad. Now this is
As well,
something...
yeah.
Give me your opinion first. Let's see how we take
Are you ready?
this.
Are you ready for this?
Yes, give it.
8 seconds.
8 seconds.
8 seconds.
There we go.
And
And
then-
then, if I'm not mistaken, 8.2 or 8.1 for the automatic one. Now that you've jogged my memory there.
Oh, 8 seconds for the...
0 to 100.
0 to
Yeah.
100,
Yeah, 0
all
to
right.
It's
100.
not bad.
Which really isn't bad. A little 1.4 litre motor, and the fuel consumption figures that it's returning there, it's 5.8 litres per 100. Which, I mean, is very, very respectable from a 1.4 litre turbocharged petrol motor.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's
And
very
it was hitting those numbers. It really wasn't battling to hit those numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, you drive a little bit like a hooligan, so it ends up at like 6.2, 6.5. But that's, if a car can encourage you to drive like that, then you've clearly got a package that is working well. A car that sort of grabs you by the collar and says, come, let's go drive, let's go have some fun. So that was great. But in terms of the crossovers,
Yes.
now this is the Cruise isn't a crossover. The Cruise is a dedicated, compact hatch, compact sedan.
The question out there is, can you answer this? What is a crossover? What is an SUV? When is it a crossover? When is it an SUV? There's a lot of confusions, a lot of opinions on this.
There
what
is,
would yours
because
be?
the lines are being so blurred. Okay, if you
No one seems to have a clear.
an SUV, sports utility vehicle. It's a vehicle that can be used off-road, uneven terrain. It's generally got high ground clearance, high loading area, an upright
4x4.
seating position, ideally 4x4, 9 times out of 10 in a traditional sense. Then there's also the construction. Construction in years gone by would be a chassis, a ladder chassis or something of the sorts, with the body placed on top of it. Not a unibody
how I was
construction
yes.
with, it's all one piece, that the chassis and the doors and the framework and everything and the safety cell is all one piece. That was reserved for passenger vehicles, for a sedan or a hatchback, something of the sorts.
But if you've got a sedan or a hatchback and you've got an SUV, a proper SUV, or a 4x4, a crossover is somewhere in between, so you can't have all those features. So for me, a crossover is enough ground clearance and something to just climb over pavements. You shouldn't be able to go 4x4ing in this
That's
thing.
exactly it. It's a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah.
In the sense that you've got this vehicle that has got sort of the space and the clearance of an SUV, but then it drives like a sedan or a hatchback, and is as economical as a sedan or a hatchback, and is coming in at the price of a sedan or a hatchback. And in doing that, you sort of ruin the off-road capabilities or the utility side of things.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel that they're just watering it down and they're just diluting the choices out there. Yes.
But
You guys sound confused.
Yeah,
Crossovers sell extremely well. They do. Sell
The
well.
the numbers are there with them. But isn't it more a marketing thing? Because think about this. Even though we were talking earlier about the bike side, you were saying that it's not perfect in any specific area. It covers a wide range of areas.
That's
now,
a will-do approach to it, and I feel that's wrong. If you get the tool for the job.
I wouldn't want to. I mean, if you think of the bike side now, the Triumph, I don't want to go motocross. I want a little bit of dirt pavement.
How many people in the that have proper SUVs actually go off tar?
Use them properly,
use them properly.
Yeah.
So crossovers are perfect
but
for that kind of
they
person.
want to seem like they can.
That's a lot of it.
That's what I'm
nowadays,
saying.
if you even try and park on a pavement in a shopping centre, you get your wheels clamped. So,
But guys, I've got to interrupt you. SUV is a nice vehicle to drive. I know a lot of people say a lot of things about them, but if you want to sit up high, see the traffic, feel comfortable, not worry about potholes. I've got an SUV. I'm going to say which one. I never worry about potholes.
but does a crossover tick those boxes?
I think a crossover is a confused thing.
It is.
It's like people who'd like to have an SUV but don't. So they get one that kind of looks like one, but it's not really.
Very much the case. Very much the case. And that's why I
Specify
believe
SUV.
So I've
Give
changed
us some
my mind.
examples.
The adventure bikes are not crossovers, they are SUVs.
you're taking a look at now Land Rovers, Range Rovers, your bigger Jeeps, your Wranglers, the stuff that is properly off-road capable.
Are you putting them in the SUV bracket?
Yeah, those are sport utility vehicles in their essence, and some of them still by construction as well.
Yeah, but cars like, I know that the Range Rover is very capable, but the Fortuner is even more capable in terms of 4x4 capability. So you do get this hierarchy of, capability when it comes to an SUV, and then even less so a crossover, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Now, where my sort of main gripe comes in is when you start making these small crossovers. Granted, so you've got something like the recent released Citroen Cactus, the Renault Captur. It's no bigger than a hatchback. It's got 15 millimeters more ground clearance, and maybe 10, 15 liters more packing space, just because they've lifted the roofline or something of the sorts. What's the purpose? What is the point of that?
It looks cool.
It looks cool, yeah. I suppose
The
a lot
younger
of it is,
people want it.
So Wikipedia is the source I'm looking at here, and
Yes,
says
they have a
a crossover utility vehicle (CUV).
Yeah.
So
Okay,
not
there we go.
Not SUV.
Yeah. Is a vehicle built on a car platform and combining in highly variable degrees, 15 millimeters, highly variable degrees, features of an SUV with features of a passenger vehicle. So I think your definition is spot on. It's a person that wants a sedan, but some of the features of an SUV.
Now, I'm not knocking the manufacturers either, but how can you take something, let's go, and we're going to say the BMW X1 is a crossover. It's based on a 1 Series, which is the smallest platform pretty much that BMW makes. Okay?
You know, I never looked at that car as not an SUV or as a crossover. I look at the Polo crossover as a crossover.
Polo Cross, yes, something of the sorts there. But no, you'd be taking a look at something like your Tiguan as a crossover, because that's now got the looks of the big Touareg, but it's based on the small little platform with a piddly little motor.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's just that ticks the boxes. You've got this passenger car chassis with an SUV body on it, and then you're expecting it to still drive like a passenger car. I'm sorry, physics dictates otherwise. My logic dictates otherwise. So I feel that a lot of these people are just diluting the market and creating vehicles that shouldn't be on our roads and giving too much choice out there.
It's marketing. It
is marketing.
It's
Clearly they know way more than what I do in that sense. Because they are selling. That's the thing, they are selling.
Exactly. I mean...
so all the cars you don't like are selling.
I may be in the wrong line of work.
I mean, the ETS Cross.
Yes.
Crossover.
Yes.
I mean, that for me is a perfect example of I don't want to call it a entry level, but it is to some extent.
Yeah, to a point, yes. But that is now lesser of the SUV side of things. That is more just a hatchback, and you got the same with the Polo Cross as well. And you had it with, like, I believe it was the Lavinia. You had that because you had the Lavinia X Gear, and you could. That was taking the body shape and the chassis and everything of the hatchback and just making it seem more rugged by stretching the springs a little bit, slightly stiffer springs, bigger,
15 mil.
Yeah, 15 millimeters, and putting some blank plastic cladding on the side with roof rails, and you call that now a crossover.
Take a guess when the first crossover was made.
It was earlier. It was like the 70s or so, if I'm not mistaken.
Think again. 1948.
1948.
The Willys Overland Jeepster was the first crossover.
That's before you were born, Chad.
I think we could add most of our ages together before we were born.
And it's an interesting topic because I think most people don't know. Do they have a crossover? Do they have an SUV? Do they really care? Is the point.
The thing where I feel it is almost going wrong is the fact that now you walk into a dealership and you're looking for a new vehicle. You sort of got your manufacturer line, narrowed down. But let's take a look. Just for example, I was driving behind one today, so it's fresh in the mind. You sit there and you can afford a BMW 5 Series. Are you going to buy a 5 Series sedan? Or are you going to buy a 5 Series GT, which is just a little more space on a sedan platform? Or you're going to go there and buy the X5, which is now pretty much the same, but just a little bigger again and closer to the SUV side of things. Believe it or not, X5 classified as a crossover and not a full-blown SUV.
That's interesting.
You're sitting with this SUV appearance, and it's lacking the off-road capability, the full-blown off-road capabilities that you would be getting from your
Fortuner.
So who decides to call it either crossover or SUV? Because I think manufacturers, Arnold changed his mind just now. So
I think it's the manufacturers themselves. They're sitting and they're saying, that, okay, well, we've got a vehicle that caters for X and we've got a vehicle that caters for Y, but we really wish there was a letter in between those so that we could create something, because there's people that are, or we believe that there are people that can't decide between the two. And you end up with creations like the 5 Series GT. And I just know that the person driving that was given a great deal on it, because nobody in their right mind goes out and buys that.
I just think it's a variety thing. If you put 5 chocolates in front of me, I'm going to choose one, if not 2. But if you put only one, I might skip on it. You know what I mean?
Would you really?
Depending on what chocolate it is.
If you're sitting with 2 chocolates there, if you're sitting with a choice of 2 there, and you can have A or B, it sort of makes half the decision for you. But if you're sitting there with 5 chocolates now, it makes it so much more difficult. Oh, I like C, but E.
No, I've got a bigger variety.
You've got a bigger variety, but it makes the decision a little more difficult. And I'm not saying that each one of those chocolates or each one of those vehicles took the same amount of research and development, the same amount of cost to manufacture, all the marketing behind it, the launches and all that, is it healthy? I don't know if it is. I can't answer. I don't believe it is.
Well, I can't speak for the vehicles. The chocolate selection I can, but talking about healthy. What I want to ask, Arnold, I want to get back to you now because we're talking marketing and I mean crossover. I think it's got a lot to do with giving extra range, variety to choose from. But in your case as a brand, you guys are doing other initiatives from a marketing point of view or from a support. For example, Can Survive. This is a big thing that you've been sponsoring for a very long time. Why?
Can Survive was an interesting one. They used to have a different brand that supported them. There was a bit of a split. It used to be Journey of Hope. You'll remember the name.
Yes.
So they had some big sponsors and whatever. And they kind of came upon us quite by accident because we also make cruisers. And a lot of the ladies that ride were cruiser riders. Anyway, it seemed like a great idea. I said, well, it's interesting. They drive all over the country. They do roughly 2,000 kilometers. And they've got a proper program of creating awareness about, the big thing is early detection. So we kind of liked it. It wasn't a case of, and I don't want to knock, some of the rides for charities appear to be people going from A to Z and they're having a few parties in between and not much gets done on the ground. So with this lot, they have got a logistics team. They arrange with schools, communities, factories, businesses, you name it. And also tea society, ladies' tea societies, or if you want to call it that. Very, very broad spectrum. They've got a show. They do the show. They do some education. They do some testimonials. And the whole thing is early detection saves lives. So we liked it.
Because I'm going to say this, you're fussy. You don't get involved with anyone or just anything. So you took your time and decided.
There's a much better word than fussy.
I'm being nice.
Yeah.
Yes. But you've been involved. You've been sponsoring bikes for a long time.
It's our 5th year.
Yes.
It's coming up next month. Look, of course, there was a commercial angle too. We were saying, well, this is quite an interesting indirect brand building exercise. I wasn't initially going to be involved in the actual trip. It came about, and after the first day, those people were under my skin. And
did you abandon them?
I was hooked.
Oh, okay.
And
in a good way, under your skin.
Yeah,
okay.
In a good way. So I started doing marshalling around the trip because there's a pack of about 16, 17 riders with a lead and a sweep. And there's an ambulance and there's other cars that's sponsored, and it's a whole entourage of about 50 people. So myself and somebody else would act as roving marshals, and we were having fun and blocking off traffic at intersections and upsetting people. And but it's really
biker things.
Yeah. But you're going from place to place and seeing them do the show in sometimes very, very rural communities, sometimes even in very sophisticated communities. And you're seeing these people reach out and they touch people's lives and they get the message across. It's the basic thing. It's a primary thing, early detection. So if something is wrong, go and see a doctor. Speak, put your hand up. So sponsoring something where we can see what our money is doing directly is really actually very nice. And it's personally very satisfying to be involved in saying, in one part of the year, we're doing something that's got nothing to do with making money. It's actually about just giving back.
Yeah,
so
being part of it.
A few years ago, I said to them, they don't have to ask me every year. I'll tell them when we don't want to sponsor them anymore.
Okay. Well, that's a great sponsorship to have.
It is. But it's a nice thing to be involved in. Really, really is.
So how do, ladies out there now, because I'm going to talk about, this is for the ladies, but you do Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, which seems to be more for the guys. For Can Survive, how can you get involved?
Can Survive's not actually just for ladies. The thing started originally with breast cancer as the main objective. They now talk about the shy cancers. So there's cervical, testicular, what's the other one not far away from there? Of course, the boob cancer. Typically the prostate. Yeah, there you go. And that's where the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride thing comes in. So, but it's typically the cancers that people are shy to talk about because those are the ones that's more vulnerable, where they don't stick their hand up and they don't go and talk about things. So But the big part of it is breast cancer.
Even Duncan shaking his head, yeah. Doesn't want to go for those.
So it's interesting when the guys stand up on a stage and you're at a school and they say to the guys how to examine your testicles and to feel for something. Don't interrupt now. And the boys are giggling and whatever. The fact is, though, that
there is an awareness.
Boys under the age of 10 can get testicular cancer.
Wow.
And we've had examples of people on the trip that when they do the testimonial, they say they started feeling one of the testes getting really sore, swollen, and then they wouldn't go and tell their parents because they're scared that they'd be accused of playing with themselves. So they stand up there and they tell people the story and say, don't be shy. If something's wrong, so do something.
So how does the gentleman's ride, how does that work? Because this is a worldwide
Yeah, it was started by some guys in Australia, and they wanted to raise funds to put into prostate cancer research. So they started this Distinguished Gentleman's Ride thing. It's on the internet, and the whole idea is that the guys dress up in a bit of an old-fashioned way. They're supposed to look dapper and have an old-fashioned kind of a bike, a classic bike, a custom, a bobber, a classic Vespa scooter type, something like that. And Triumph started supporting them globally. They don't sponsor them, they support them. And so because of that, we've actually been involved locally before the Triumph factory got involved. So we're encouraging our customers to take part, and we've got a great product range that fits in with that.
Well, I think that's wonderful, Arnold. I mean, what you guys are doing, like you say, this is something where you're not getting anything, you just want to make a difference. But just on this event, if people do want to get involved, it's somewhere in September, am I right?
It's the 27th of September.
Okay.
They can go and check on the websites. They can contact our Triumph dealers. We've got it on our Facebook site too, so they'll find it quite easily.
Yeah, we'll share the link on our social media channels and that sort of. But if you are listening out there, it is gentlemansride.com, and that's happening in about a month's time, just over a month's time. We've got about 37 days to go.
And that's right.
And it's a worldwide ride, eh? Countries from all around the world participate in this on the same day. All around the world, everybody's hopping on their bikes and riding.
Okay, and people do not have generally you should register as a rider, and you can make a donation. It's not compulsory, but guys, it doesn't take much to donate a few bob. It's quite easy.
You were saying about arms or something earlier on.
What's
short
that?
arms.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, short
arms, deep pockets.
Yes.
Well, I want to quickly pick your brain before we go, guys. 10 biggest first day turn-offs in a car. Let's see if you can get a chat.
I've read through this. This isn't fair.
No,
I've read through it. So.
Okay, Arnold, you haven't read through it. Any turn-offs? Just give us one. You can do it.
You can't remember how long ago it was since I dated.
Okay, one of those.
Road rage.
Okay.
I remember taking dates to the drive-in.
When they were still around.
Well, some of them are still. For me, I mean, the inside of a car, I can't really say to my car's not necessarily tidy. But then again, I'm not going in my car if I go for a date. So.
Well, you know what struck me is dirty car, which is at the bottom of the list at 23%. That for me would be an indication of the rest of the person's life.
Nonsense. I don't agree.
Guess he's got a dirty car.
Untidy. Dirty is two different things. Hygiene.
Okay, I get it.
Bad personal hygiene is at 80%.
Yeah, no.
There is a difference.
Yeah, no, that's just unforgivable.
Yes, no sense of humor, being self-obsessed. I can vouch for that. Texting while driving at 45%.
Yes, because, I mean, if you're riding a passenger in the car, if I'm sitting as a passenger in the car and the driver starts texting where I'm like, oh, so my life means nothing to you. Dude, put the phone away.
Why aren't you driving, Chad? Yeah. I'm just saying. Okay, we got to start closing up here. Just on that Chevrolet Cruise Hatch review, you guys can have a look at the Auto Central page on Cliff Central, or you can visit the video review section at autotrader.co.za. And then what's coming up now? Tonight, actually, we're going to be seeing you again tonight, Arnold.
That's right.
At the Pirelli Bike of the Year. So we'll find out who the winner is, and we'll give you guys some decent feedback on the Bike of the Year next Wednesday, because we've been talking quite a bit when you were away, George, unfortunately, about the Car of the Year. So we'll be talking about the selection process. By the way, the Triumph Enter a bike?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Tiger
so we'll
800 XCX.
Okay.
Yes, I see there's 47 Triumphs on AutoTrader's site. So if you're interested interested in going to
And
see
three rockets, eh?
And
I
three
noticed
rockets.
Oh,
that.
did you
Yes,
guys
just now,
notice
there was
it?
three rockets
as well. So
Awesome. So you guys can follow. Don't miss the Belgium Grand Prix coming up this weekend, 21 to 23 August. And from our side, I think that's it. You can follow us on @SA Speed Queen.
Or at George Mienie or at AutoTrader SA.
Chad?
at Chad Luckhoff.
Chad's busy on his phone. I hope you don't type and drive.
No.
Remember, secret to a balanced life? Keep moving.
This is CliffCentral.com.